And so my distinct pleasure this morning is to introduce our first keynote speaker. And she is a staunch human rights activist and protector. She organizes and runs the Center for Civil Liberties, and she is a 2022 Nobel Peace Prize winner. And so I'd like to introduce Oleksandra Matviichuk, who will be joining us virtually. And then, of course, as most people my age need help with Zoom setup.
Oleksandra, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, I think you're ready to start.
Thank you very much for providing me a floor. It's a huge honor for me to address to this distinguished audience. I'm a human rights lawyer, and I'm documenting war crimes in this war which Russia has launched against Ukraine for 12 years already. When large-scale war started, we united our efforts with dozens of organizations from different regions. We built a national network of local documentators. We covered the whole country, including the occupied territories, and working together, we jointly documented more than 90,000 episodes of war crimes. And 90,000, it's an enormous amount, but still just a tip of iceberg. And there are a lot of crimes against medical workers among those 90,000 episodes. When we speak about medics and international humanitarian law, we know that medics are the category which have the special protection under international humanitarian law. But Russia deliberately hit hospitals and maternity departments, attack on medical teams and doctors which provided professional care. We analyzed these cases together with legal firm Dentus, and lawyers of Dentus prepared the submission to International Criminal Court. So we hope that International Criminal Court will take this information into consideration and probably will open a new case based on these evidences. Also, I want to emphasize that Russian Federation has no right to detain civilians, but Russia did and detained dozens of thousands of people, and among them there are a lot of medical staff. Who work on occupied territories, or medics who provide the first medical assistance in the front line. So last year we started, and still we are conducting the international campaign for release of medics, and I will be very glad if you also join to our call and demand to Russian Federation to release all your colleagues. Because all of us know what happened when during the war there is no people who can provide professional medical care. Let me illustrate it with one case. This is a case of 10-year-old boy Ilya from Mariupol. When Russians tried to siege the city, they didn't allow International Criminal Court to open Green Corridor and to evacuate civilians. Hence, Ilya and his mother, like other people in Mariupol, had to hide in the basement from Russian shelling. They melted snow to have water, and they made fires to cook at least some food. But when supplies ran out, they were forced to go out, and suddenly they appeared in the center of Russian shelling. Ilya's mother was hit in her head, and the boy's legs were torn. With the last strength, his mother took your son to the friend apartment. It was no medical assistance because prior to this, Russians deliberately destroyed maternity hospital and entire medical infrastructure in Mariupol. So in this friend apartment, they just lay down on a couch and they hugged each other. They are lying like this for several hours. And this 10-year-old boy told to my colleague how his mother died and got frozen right in his arms. So let me express my sincere gratitude to medical professionals and those organizations and initiatives who help them to conduct this vital work during the large-scale war. These efforts are very important, and your solidarity is very essential. It's literally saved lives, a lot of lives of people in Ukraine. So thank you for this. And because I think that in these dramatic times, all of us need some hope, let me tell something not judicial, based on my practice, but not judicial, not legal, but very human, what we can rely on in such circumstances when the law doesn't work, when we have no legal tools how to stop Russian atrocities and to secure the work of medics. I interviewed Ukrainian professor on philosophy, scientist Igor Kozlovsky. He originally from Donetsk, and he was illegally abducted in Donetsk and spent 700 days in Russian captivity. Before this, I interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, men and women, civilian and military, who told me horrible stories, how they were beaten, raped, smashed into wooden boxes, their fingers were cut, their nails were torn away, their nails were drilled, there were electrical shocks through their genitalia. One girl told me how she was forced to write with her own blood. Another woman told me how her eye was dragged out with a spoon. So it was little that could surprise me. But Professor Igor Kozlovsky mentioned a detail which is insignificant for the evidence base, but this detail impressed me. He described how he was kept in solitary confinement in a tiny cell in a basement with no window, no fresh air, no light. It was purely ventilated. It was difficult for him even to breathe. Sewage flows on the dirty floor, and through the opening of the sewage, rats were crawling down. So this well-known in my country professor told me how he gave lectures on philosophy to these rats just to hear a sound of human voice. And legally, Igor Kozlovsky is a victim because he was abducted, illegally detained, and kept in inhuman conditions. He was tortured so severely that he had to learn how to walk again. But he told me that all this experience is not a reason for him to treat himself and experience himself as victim, because the basis of our existence is dignity, not victimhood. And dignity is action. Dignity, it's not just feeling responsible for something which is going wrong, but to take the decisive actions to change it for better. We are not hostages of circumstances. We are participants of this historical process. Dignity provides people a strength and courage to continue their fight, even in unbearable conditions. So I want to finish with the words of gratitude and hope. Once again, thank you for your solidarity, that you are helping Ukrainian medics, that you are helping Ukrainian people to receive professional medical care, because we are fighting for life, and it's very vital to preserve it. And Let me assure you that despite everything, the story of Ukraine and our fight, it's a life-affirming story because dramatic times raise hope. When freedom is denied, it becomes powerfully break out through the every concrete individuals. And yes, our future is unclear, but it's not pre-written. This means that we still have a chance to fight for future, which we want for us and for our children. Because hope, it's not a confidence that everything will be fine. Hope, it's a deep understanding that all our efforts have a huge meaning. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for this powerful statement and for helping us understand why we do this work. Really, why is the reason why we're here, the reason why we're doing this work, the reason why we are motivated to help this fight for dignity and freedom. So thank you